Echo 5, do you copy? Echo 5.
Echo 2, good morning. Nice of you to drop by.
Feeling alright, sir? Thought we lost you.
Right now, I feel like I can take on this whole podcast myself.
I know what you mean. Ready to send that transmission to Echo Base?
Yes, sir. R10, patch through.
Welcome, guys, to another transmission from Hoth. This is Echo 2 with...
This is Echo 5.
Alright, guys, so we got a lot of craziness that just happened this last week. So we're going to kind of go over a little bit, tell you a little bit about each of the projects, because they announced what it looks like, 11 projects.
It's like they dropped a nuclear bomb. It was almost overwhelming how much stuff they dropped. I didn't even know where to start looking,
Dude, I know. Like, honestly, I had an inkling that they're going to be dropping some news because they were talking. They're talking about something about their conference the night before, and then the next day I totally forgot about it and I was working, and then I got a text from Echo 5 here, and he's like, "Dude, check out Instagram. It's like blowing up." And so,
Well, I was checking out all the other accounts, like all Star Wars and Star Wars Dude and all the other guys. They just started posting stuff like, and I was looking at the post, and they were literally 5-6 minutes old, and then I'd see the other account would post something, it'd be like 4 minutes old. I'm like, this must be happening right now, and I couldn't keep up with it. I started posting news, and I'd post the project about Ahsoka and more news about Obi-Wan, and then the Rangers of the New Republic, and then I just kind of I started getting frustrated because I didn't want to do a post after post after post, and then I finally found the main picture that just has all of them. I was like, all right, let's just do this one.
yeah,
It was too much. It's nuts.
it's just a little bit. So we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about some of these projects. So one of the first ones that, all right. So we have one called Rogue Squadron. It's going to be the first feature film that we'll see in the Star Wars universe on screen. I believe it's going straight to theaters. So we have Rogue Squadron. We have an untitled Taika Waititi film. We have an Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Then we got 2 Disney Plus series that are going to tie into The Mandalorian, and it's going to kind of create like an Arrowverse, if you know, like the DC TV show series on WB.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought
or CW. It's going to be Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic. Then we're going to have Lando, Andor. Then everybody excited for this one, The Bad Batch. We're going to have something called Star Wars Visions. And then there's going to be a special project called A Droid Story. And then another one called Acolyte. So starting with Rogue Squadron, it's going to be the first feature film that we're going to see in theaters. I believe that's going to be releasing in, I want to say 2022 or 2023.
So I noticed on the logo. I noticed on the logos you see that the Taika Waititi film is the one that just says Star Wars, and it has a different looking style logo. Is that going to be the new trilogy we're hearing about?
It might be, but right now it's just untitled film, and it's not plural.
Rogue Squadron is going to be more or less like the Solo film or the Rogue One film, like a standalone film on its own, correct?
I believe so. Depending on how popular it becomes, I want to say they could easily turn that into like its own little like side series.
Sure.
That's separate from like the main, or kind of intertwined with it.
Talking to different fans, I've heard a lot of positive feedback on the particular dogfight scenes in the movies, in the Disney Star Wars movies, like the battle over Scarif.
Oh yes.
In Rogue One, and they just talked about how cool this movie will be because they're focusing on where they have a lot of their strengths. They do very well, even in the Mandalorian. A lot of the shots that we get, particularly in this last episode, which we'll talk about soon enough, with the Slave One on Merak, those are spectacular. With the TIE Fighter, oh my gosh, those are good. We'll get back to that.
Previous episodes too, with the Razor Crest on that Secret Lab base.
Yeah.
So Rogue Squadron does look really promising. I love the dogfight scenes in the movies. So this
Oh
one's
yeah.
going to be directed by Patty Jenkins, and from what we know so far, it's going to be about a group of new pilots that are going to be earning their wings as they push the boundaries in a high-speed thrill ride. I'm not
It's
exactly.
like a Fast
I'm
and
not.
Furious in Star Wars.
That's what I was thinking. So it's gonna be like Fast and Furious space battles, and I'm wondering how many space battles we're gonna have, or or what. I don't know. So I'm
That'll
pretty
be fun
excited
to
to see
focus
this
on that.
project.
That's really exciting. That's cool.
Yeah, and going back to the Taika Waititi film, basically what Kathleen Kennedy said is his approach will be a fresh, unexpected, and unique take or approach,
Mm,
and his enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride. So
that's
right
so
now,
cool.
I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy, but because it's not plural for the film
Hmm.
part of the word, but it looks like it's something that's already being worked on. Then we
Awesome.
got the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and
That's what
big
I'm most
news on that
excited
one.
for.
Yeah, big news on that one.
Yeah. Hayden Christensen's returning.
Yeah, that's gonna be insane. I'm really
That's
excited.
nuts.
A lot
So
of,
I'm guessing he's playing Vader. He's basically just playing in the suit, or are we gonna get flashbacks? That's the question. I'm
we
not
might get a little bit
exactly.
of flashbacks. We might get. I was talking with my cousin, and we were talking
Not
about
that boring,
maybe
Mark.
it's kind of like the similar thing with uh Kylo and Ray. Maybe it's like a force connection where they're talking.
Mm. Oh,
Like
that
they
would
still
be
have that connection. And
sure,
so
sure, sure. Yeah.
so maybe we
He's.
see
Oh man.
Anakin as projecting himself outside of Vader.
I heard one thing that was really interesting. How they're talking about how so apparently they're going to have a rematch in the movie. And I, I I don't know. I don't know how I feel like that about that because the whole A New Hope was basically the rematch. I know that a lot of people kind of make fun of that because they're older and slower and
I think
compared
that's
to
the
Revenge of the
reason.
Sith, all the energy. So maybe they're trying to do some type of redemption battle. I don't know how they'll do it. I think it would be pretty cool. The first thing that came to my mind was, how they're going to pull this off is when I look at the Dooku battles in Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
Where you have the battle Attack of the Clones first of all, and then when you go to Revenge of the Sith, they refer to the first battle, and you're thinking of the battle in Attack of the Clones, and this is a rematch of the Attack of the Clones battle in Revenge of the
Right.
Sith. But there was a lot of battles. They probably fought at least four
In
or five,
between.
maybe even six times in between in Clone Wars. So technically, they could kind of get away with it. But I was talking to one of my buddies at work. We were just kind of talking about the dialogue from the epic rematch, and he was saying things like, "You're my brother, Anakin." Again, I love you. Again, like it's like, how are we gonna do this? I hate you. Again, like.
I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be more of kind of like how Ahsoka returned to Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
More of that. It's like you're gonna see the hatred in Vader. Like you're gonna see like the different personalities. Like
Yeah.
yeah, we had that Mustafar battle, but there's gonna be so much more hate, and especially against
Well,
Obi-Wan.
think about some of the fan remakes that you see done. We posted one a few weeks ago where they redo the Obi-Wan fight. They use the scenes that are already there, but they add scenes with more energy.
Yeah.
That some other actors did, and it's amazing. I watched that over and over and over because it's so good. So I'm not. I'm actually excited for it. I'm not trying to like bad talk it. It's kind of funny, but I'm sure when it comes out, it's going to be amazing, and I'm going to be just as excited to see it as everybody else. Um, I look forward to it, honestly. I don't really care. More Anakin, more Hayden Christensen, and Ewan McGregor. I mean, there's nothing to complain about there.
Oh, not at all. I mean, this one is going to be set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, so it's going to be in between, like directly in the middle between Episode 3 and Episode 4.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea. I heard that they're going to have. It's basically going to be a hard time for Jedi, and that the Jedi will be hunted down. It'll be very dangerous to be a Jedi during this time. So they'll probably have Inquisitors or some type of dark user hunting down the Jedi, some type of Jedi hunter, which will make a really cool plot line, as like what we saw in Rebels.
Yeah,
Turned out really good.
I was gonna say that kind of reminds me of Rebels, and we didn't see
Yeah.
all of the Inquisitors, so there's got to be a few more
No.
that
Yeah.
that we haven't even seen, because the a
Sure.
couple show up in the comics, a couple
Hmm.
show up in Jedi Fallen Order, and a
Yeah,
few show up in Rebels.
I only remember seeing the fifth brother, the seventh sister, and then the Grand Inquisitor
Hmm.
in Rebels.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe we'll see an Inquisitor. They come across Kenobi. They report to Vader. Vader's like, "Leave this one to me," and then comes in and Obi-Wan evades them again.
Well, I want to see a scene too, like in that book, Rise of Darth Vader, that was sort of a sequel to Revenge of the Sith. And the end of the book, Obi-Wan's just kind of chilling in the cantina in Mos
Oh
Eisley,
yeah.
having a drink, and with somebody he met, some guy, some alien, and he sees the news, and he sees Darth Vader on the news up on the screen, and he just falls off the table and drops his drink, and the guy's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, because
Obi-Wan's like,
he doesn't. I feel like that's something a lot of people have not thought about, is that Obi-Wan doesn't know at this point in time. He does not know that Darth Vader is alive.
yeah, kind of similar to
Or,
Ahsoka, like when she connected to Vader through the ship, and she got overwhelmed by feeling his presence again.
well, I mean, I know we're not trying to talk about a whole nother gone on a huge detour here, but does Obi-Wan
Yeah,
even know Darth Vader? Because he kept calling him Anakin during the fight. Does he know him as Darth Vader?
he might, because in the holo recording, I think they did see him kneeling down to Palpatine, and
Oh,
that's
you're
where he
right.
did get
Yeah, that's
named.
right. And
So
and and Yoda called him Vader when he sent him to go fight him. When
yeah,
he said the apprentice that you once knew is no longer, and basically he mentions
yeah,
Darth
didn't say.
Vader.
Yeah, I don't think he called him by name, but you definitely knew that there was a. They knew that there was a change,
He said he
and
said he said something. The apprentice you knew is no longer. He said he's been consumed by Darth Vader.
oh
That's
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
actually
that's
in the
right.
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah,
That
so he
is right.
knows.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is right. So yeah, so they do know the name Darth Vader. So I wonder how disconnected Obi-Wan has been from the news and being a hermit,
Yeah.
and then maybe it's kind of similar. Like he hears Darth Vader and he's like, "Oh crap, he's not dead," and so maybe he investigates a little bit. Maybe we get a little bit of your Jedi slicing and dicing some stormtroopers throughout this series.
Oh yeah, I want to see that. I'm sure we will. Man, there's a lot to look forward to. I can
Hmm.
see him taking on all kinds of. I mean, there's a lot they can do on Tatooine. Just watching the Mandalorian, I like all of the Tusken Raider scenes. I mean, there's a lot you can do just on Tatooine. I'm sure he'll leave, and I feel like it'll be sort of like a Lothal feel in Rebels. They kept going back to Lothal. It was literally the main planet. They'd go to planets here and there, but it was mainly about Lothal. And I imagine it'll be similar to the Obi-Wan series. It'll be Tatooine, but they'll go here and there to other places wherever he's needed. But the main thing is watching Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, because if he goes toe to toe with Vader again, it's got to be away from Tatooine. Otherwise,
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Vader would have kept his presence there, and
Yeah.
there'd be a bigger Imperial presence as well,
I
rather than just
really
the
hope
Outer
in one
Rim.
of these. I hope kind of random, but I hope in one of these shows they go to Kashyyyk. I love Kashyyyk. And they haven't used Kashyyyk in any of these. With all this new technology and how good everything looks right now, I would love to see Kashyyyk again. I really hope they hit up Kashyyyk in the Obi-Wan show or the Ahsoka show or somewhere. I think it'd be cool. Or maybe even Mando season 3.
I don't know. With all these projects, I'm sure we're gonna see something. We'll revisit some old planets, some familiar planets.
Oh, I hope in the High Republic era we see Alderaan. Come on, that's your
Dude,
opportunity. We've got to see
that is
Alderaan. I
actually.
totally, yeah. I now I'm actually getting pumped because I hope because I'm thinking it's going to be something completely new and unfamiliar. But I think that they could still use all those planets are there. And come on, Alderaan's there. This is 200 years before Phantom Menace. They've got to
So
have
it's
Alderaan in
still
there. Oh man,
there, and it's a big part of the galaxy. The
it is.
So
Yeah,
they're a huge cultural
absolutely.
and art planet. So I'd imagine they'd have a high respect throughout the rest of the Republic. So Obi-Wan series, super excited.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's see. Next is Lando. Don't know too much about it. I just know it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a event series for Disney Plus. So I'm not sure what it means by event series. So I don't know if it's gonna be like a
I don't know.
season or if they're just gonna do like random episodes here and there just to tie in with some of the other stuff. I don't know.
It looks like it's kind of that sequel solo move that everybody wanted, but in a TV form.
Yeah, Ooh, I hope Solo returns. I'd love to see Alden come back.
I'm sure they'll have him.
But I don't think so, only because this takes place before Solo. So,
Okay, so it's not the Solo sequel. I am
nah,
incorrect.
yeah.
All right.
So, then Andor, which we got a little bit of the sizzle reel for that, and it looks actually pretty exciting.
It does look
Um,
pretty good. Yeah, they showed a lot of the sets and the mask and everything they built for it.
yeah, and it's going to be done by Tony Gilroy, and he usually does like a spy thriller, so I'm excited to see what he does. Um,
I, yeah,
I
it's
actually
gonna be like
wasn't.
Gotham City or something, or
It might be.
Agents of Shield for Star Wars.
Yeah. Like I honestly, after Rogue One, like controversial, but I really didn't care for Rogue One. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great film. I'm
Yeah.
not bashing it in any way, but I just didn't really care for the characters, and I don't know. So
See, I
and
loved Rogue
Cassian,
One. I loved Rogue One, but I can see what you mean about the character development because they've kind of dropped these characters in here and there, and they didn't have a whole lot of time to develop them. I just like the story of Rogue One was solid. I like the whole, idea
yeah.
of the
See, I think that's where I'm at too. Like I enjoyed the story of Rogue One, but the characters, because I was
you didn't
talking
care about the
to
characters very much.
yeah, I was talking to one of my buddies, and he's really excited for Andor. Like because he wants to come in because like we have a whole set schedule for this coming year on
Yeah.
the different discussions we're gonna have, and Rogue One's one of them. And so I was like, hey, why don't you come on and just be like a guest on it? And so I'm like, here's our
No, that'd
schedule.
be
Just go
cool.
ahead. I was like, go ahead and pick one. And so he picked Rogue One. I was like, oh, is Rogue One your favorite? And he was like, yeah, I really liked it a lot. And I was like, okay. And so we had a little discussion on it.
So maybe we'll get a different outlook on that.
Yeah, exactly. And so we kind of discussed a little bit. And I was like, I'm not really excited for Andor just because I didn't really care for the characters.
I loved Rogue One. I loved Rogue One. But the Andor show itself, I don't really see why we need it. And I'm only saying that because there's so many other things they can do and follow, so many other stories I think that are way more interesting and way more epic than Andor. I just get the vibe that they're just doing this because this is Disney's creation and they're stroking their ego, so they gotta use their stuff instead of, I don't know, Lucas existing stuff. I don't know. That's
I
just
don't know.
me.
I can see that too. But just like with Solo, I didn't think we needed Solo, and
Yeah, and
and
you enjoyed it.
my
Yeah,
yeah, I wasn't even planning on going to the
yeah. So
theater to
Solo
see it,
was
and I
Solo
went and
was really
saw it,
good.
and so I went and saw it and really liked it. And so that's kind of
Yeah.
what my buddy's been doing here. Is like we kind of discussed it a little bit, and so the more we discussed it, I was like, oh, you know what, Andor does actually sound pretty cool, and I kind of researched a little bit about it, what it's going to be about.
Hmm.
Watch the sizzle reel. It's actually one of the ones I'm most excited for to see on
Oh,
Disney
good.
Plus. Yeah.
Nice.
Um, and so it's going to be a new cast. The people that are confirmed for it is going to be Stellan Skarsgård, Adria Arjona, Fiona
Mm.
Shaw, Denise Gao, Kyle Soller, and Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. So we're going to see Mon Mothma again, which is
Oh, that's
pretty
really
excited.
cool. I love how they
Yeah.
keep using her. She had uh,
Oh, she was
very
perfect.
little, if not any, scenes in Revenge of the Sith, and then she shows up in Rogue One, and she was awesome.
Yeah, and the kicker is it's already 3 weeks into production. They started 3 weeks ago in London.
She she was at oh that's cool. That's really cool. She
Hmm.
was actually, did she even appear in she was actually in a deleted scene of Revenge of the Sith. I'm
Correct.
trying to remember
And
if she was actually even in the movie itself. I don't think she was. I think she was just in the
no,
extended scene.
yeah, she was just an extended scene, and then they pulled her
Deleted scene. Yeah,
into
sorry.
yeah, and then they pulled her into Rogue One,
Yeah.
and then I think they used her voice in Rebels.
Hey, you can is Andor taking place before? Oh, obviously,
Yeah, it's
obviously
before
before Rogue
Solo.
One.
Yeah,
Oh,
obviously.
before Solo, but
No, it takes place after Rogue One, right
yeah,
before A New Hope.
no, yeah, that was another stupid question. But the Andor show, that show could have Old Rand in it.
It could, because I do believe Mon Mothma is Alderaanian.
Yeah, and Bill Organa could definitely
And
be in it. He's got to be in
yeah,
it.
yeah, they
And you
could
got
definitely pull
three
Bail
PO and
Organa
R
into it.
two. And I,
Oh
I
yeah,
I think it's gonna be. I think it'll be really good. It'd be, and I feel like you might get some more cameos from some of the pilots. Um, you know, from
yeah,
from from the original Red Squadron.
yeah,
So
yeah. Red Squadron. I was gonna say Rogue Squadron isn't a thing at this point. not until
Yeah, no. I'm
the
just thinking of
movie.
like Red
Yeah.
Leader and all those guys. So
So the next thing that I've been hearing everybody talk about is the Bad Batch. That's going to debut sometime in 2021. And it's going to take place post Clone War.
yeah,
And
that's pretty cool actually.
yeah, and so I think was the description on it is they'll take on a daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. Because we
That's
know that
pretty
the
cool.
clones are being implemented into the Empire and slowly phased out with what we
So
know.
they did use the clones for the Empire.
Yeah, I mean Vader treated them like in some of the comics,
Yeah.
like Vader goes back to one of the cloning facilities, I think, and he just goes in and just starts killing a bunch of clones just for fun.
Jeez.
And
Yeah, because I always imagine what happened to Commander Cody, and did he
the funny
did
thing
he get
is, I
phased
actually
out
think
or?
he's going to be in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that they're going to be using Cody for this, and
That
so
that would make a lot of sense. It's like I feel like you got to see his side of the whole thing. Was he actually? Because you have the whole inhibitor chip deal going on,
hmm
and there's been debate on whether or not he was one of the few that actually might have been conscious and didn't actually go after Obi-Wan according to the chip. It seemed like he was in on it almost, but that could be false. And if he had a chip, I'd like to see his kind of the repercussions of the clones. I think that'd be cool if you see that in the Bad Batch. Because I was just talking with somebody the other day how whereas we're actually talking about Rebels. That's how the conversation started, and how when they meet Rex, how he was talking about how they got their chips out, and how he didn't kill it. He's like, I didn't kill my Jedi, and everybody has a choice. And it started making me think of the other clones. Like, well, what happened to these other clones after they kill their Jedi with the inhibitor chips? Do they start? Do they feel bad afterwards? Were they like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
Nope.
And do you see any of that, or do they just
From
carry on as
from what
zealots
we
of the Emperor?
from what we saw in Clone Wars, the final season, once that just that switch turns on for Order
It's
66,
on.
they have a
It's just
completely new
on.
mindset. They're completely brainwashed, and I don't
Wow.
think they come back. I don't think they come back for it. I think once that's on, I don't think the Emperor would go, all right,
Just
let's
turn
switch
it
it
off.
on, and then turn it off, because then he'd lose control of them, because they'd be like, oh, what do we do?
There it is.
And
There it is.
so we're gonna see that in the Bad Batch, kind of like the transition from the clones into the Empire, because you're gonna see them wearing stormtrooper armor and stuff like that, and slowly lose all their
So you don't think
markings,
you
their
think any of them
identity
will?
with just the basic look of a stormtrooper. Because you
What's
see
do
like
you think
some
the
of
bad?
the,
Do you think the Bad Batch will have had chips and they're serving the Emperor, or do you think they have minds of their own?
I think they're minds of their own, only because they're called the Bad
They're
Batch.
different.
They're
Yeah,
different,
because they're different.
and
Do you
so
think
either
they have
the
a?
chips didn't work or their special abilities kind of like overrid it.
Well, can you see what was it, Echo? Can you see him having a moment with Cody and trying to like snap him out of it, or just trying to talk to him? And it'd be interesting to see if there's any possibility if there's any clones that have the will to overpower that chip.
I'm
It'd be
sure
really
there are
interesting.
a few that malfunctioned, but I think in Clone Wars they kind of showed what happens when it malfunctions.
Yeah,
It kind of made that
makes them go
one
crazy.
clone makes them go crazy, yeah, because
Yeah,
it's like directly on their brain. So unless it's shut
oh,
off or removed, I don't think it's gonna
yeah,
have any like normal effects on them,
yeah,
except for the Bad Batch. Maybe they're
sure.
just different. So hopefully the
I
Bad
could
Batch will
see,
explain it.
I could see Wolf or Gregor being involved somehow because they end up
Yeah,
with Rex.
that's right. Because I want to know how they
Got their chips out.
get together. Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee
So
you we'll see them. And it was that it looks good. I noticed how good the animation looked. It
mhm.
has the Clone Wars style, but it looks even better.
The
Which I
season
thought the
seven
season,
style.
yeah, well, I thought the season 7 looked absolutely amazing, and by the
hmm
trailers, Bad Batch looked even better. So
Yeah,
it looks really good, man. I'm excited.
yeah. I'm excited for Clone Wars season 8.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure how many seasons they're gonna have for the Bad Batch. I hope that they give us at least 2 or 3. I don't want too much of it, but I do want to at least a few seasons on it.
I don't like to have a lot of seasons of any shows. Even Mandalorian. I hope it doesn't carry on too far past season 3, but we'll get into that
I know
later.
there's gonna be a season 4, maybe a season 5, and I think they're cutting it after that. Dave Filoni doesn't even like doing
Yeah,
too many
even
seasons.
five just sounds like overkill to me. it's on fire right now, and I don't want them to lose that flame, honestly.
And I think that's why they're bringing in all these other projects, is to kind of like
Keep it
fill in
going.
the
Yeah.
gaps for when Mandalorian uh, ends. And that's why we
Which we got
got
Ahsoka
new Rangers of the Old Republic, and then Ahsoka.
and
Yeah,
Ahsoka. Yeah, they're basically going to be like you said, the Marvel or the let's like the CW shows with Arrow
yeah,
and the Flash and how they meet up. And I feel like that's kind of what we got with Ahsoka. I was thinking she was going to show up at the end of the season on episode 8, but I'm kind of doubting it now. I think that it's more about following her and her show, and it
hmm
also might be the sequel to Rebels that we were looking for in a live action version. I feel like
yeah.
that's our opportunity to get possibly Ezra, and I'm feeling like the villain of Ahsoka will be Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh, absolutely. I'm positive it's going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn, and
Just
it's
because of
going
the
to
whole
give the
setup in the last
and it'll,
episode.
yeah, and it'll give Ring and
Or the Jen.
Sabine.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I was waiting for Sabine, but I think you're absolutely right. I think that if we get any live action, we'll get Sabine
hmm
in Ahsoka, and of course, possibly of Ezra, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and maybe your cousin will show up as Zeb.
Zeb again, maybe we'll see. He's
That'd be cool.
I could try and ask him, but he's very
Oh, he won't
secretive with
tell.
his
Yeah, he won't be able
he's
to tell
very
you.
secretive with his projects,
Mhm.
and I know Disney has a tight hold on that, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna I won't push it with them. Another one. So the next project that they're doing is Star Wars Visions. It's gonna be 10 animated shorts done by some of the leading anime artists in Japan.
Mm,
And so it's not gonna be like
that's really
a
cool.
main show or anything like that. It's just
Well,
gonna be like,
it's different. That's really cool. It's just got a different touch.
yeah, think of like
It's
the Pixar
nice.
shorts.
Yeah,
That's what I'm kind of thinking it is. That's gonna tie
yeah.
into,
It's like various anime artists or something like that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then another one is called the Droid Story, which kind of reminds me of was it the Star Wars Droid movie that they did ages ago with C-3PO and R2D2.
Sure.
Um, but this one's gonna be cool because they're gonna Lucasfilm's visual effect team and then Industrial Light Magic are gonna team up to do a mix of animation and visual effects. And this adventure is going to be done by or led by R2D2 and C-3PO. So that's
That's
gonna be
really
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
So we'll get Anthony Daniels back in that one.
hmm That's what I was
That's
thinking.
really cool. So it is basically going to be live action.
I think so. It's actually no. It says animation and visual effects. I think it's gonna be. I'm not
So
exactly
it'll
sure
be
what that.
animated. Oh,
Yeah. And so I think it's
mocap
gonna.
or something. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm still unsure about that. We'll get some more information on that. And they'll let us know.
Hmm.
And then the final one, which I'm intrigued by, is called the Acolyte.
Yeah,
Because this one's going to be a mystery thriller. They'll take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era.
so is this the whole? So when we got the announcement of the High Republic era, I thought that they were talking about they were going to be the new trilogy, the new Star Wars trilogy, and that's what it was going to follow. Is this the project that's focusing on, or is that
It,
starting on, or is this
I,
a bridge to this new world of Star Wars we're going to get introduced to?
I think it's going to be a bridge to it because they're already working on comics for it. I think a comic's been released. There's going to be books, and then they're going to do this. I don't know if it's going to be animated or if this is going to be a
Hmm.
live action project. But I know that they will be focusing more onto the High Republic and moving away from the Star Wars that we know and kind of go back a little bit.
Yeah,
And
which I think
Yoda
that's
will be around,
actually
so that's cool.
well. Looking at yeah, that is really cool. Looking at what how Disney Star Wars is doing in the first place. I think this is a good thing because I feel like they've done a great job doing their own thing. When they're
hmm
kind of leaning on the episodes 7, 8, and 9, I don't personally think they did as good. I feel like they've been successful on their own, so I think that these movies, I think, will be a lot better than the standalone episodes they did in the past,
Well,
7,
I
8,
mean,
9.
because they're jumping. Because I think that my issue was that they jumped in and tried to continue someone else's work,
Yeah,
and it's really hard to do that.
it
Um,
is. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so because they don't really know the characters as well as the original creator, and so you can take their world and create your own thing out of it, like they're doing with the
Yeah,
High Republic,
Yeah,
and then do really well with it because it's something new. It's a different
it's
take
their
on it.
characters.
It's their characters, and they're not infringing upon how characters should be or whatnot in the
Yeah,
originals. And
and then
so,
you got us fans that know these characters really well, and we're like, hey, you didn't do this right, or we're a lot more critical when
yeah,
it's their characters, that it's theirs, and they know the characters. We don't. We're just here to be entertained and see what they have to give us. But we feel like we own the characters when 7, 8, 9 came out. No, hey, that's not Luke Skywalker. That's, you know what I mean. I just feel like you're right, man. It wasn't completely fair. That's a really good way to look at it.
yeah. And so I'm really excited. I've been saying it from the beginning. Like Ryan Johnson, um, he, I'm excited for him to do his own thing and create his own story, his own characters, because it'll be something different. He's not going to be trying to rewrite characters that everybody knows.
Yeah, he won't be
And
bound to what already exists.
yeah, because I just recently saw the movie Knives Out, which was done by Ryan Johnson, and that movie is actually surprisingly good. I refused to watch it for a while just because I was kind of hating on him for The Last Jedi, but I finally gave in and
Yeah.
give it a shot. And he's actually a really good director, so I think he just needs his own project,
No,
his own story.
I've every movie I've seen by Ryan Johnson besides The Last Jedi was actually really good.
hmm
I,
So, so based off of all these projects, top three that you're excited for.
Obi-Wan for sure. Acolyte because it's just intriguing, and I'm really interested about this new High Republic era and Jedi's. I just want to see more lightsabers. I want to see more Jedi's. As cool as it was to see the Ahsoka, the Jedi episode in Mandalorian. That was probably my favorite episode, just because I need some lightsaber action. And
Yeah.
I'd probably say the third one would be probably Rogue Squadron, just because I'm really interested in all those dogfights. I want to see more deeper story behind the characters in the dogfights and their motives and just the drama that they can put in a huge scale action sequence. I think it'll be really good. So I'd say those are my three. What are yours?
Okay. Top three for me right now, I would have to say The Bad Batch.
Okay.
Uh, uh, just really like the character development in season 7. I'm kind of curious, especially with the time frame
Yeah,
that they're going to be in, and kind of
that's so
seeing
good, man.
see
I
how the
actually think,
clones move forward from Order 66 into the new Empire.
yeah.
Um,
Honestly, I didn't even think about that till we're having this discussion. That's really intriguing to see the start of the empire, and we haven't really, I mean, we sort of saw it, but we haven't really seen it through the eyes of people that are right there from the beginning of its roots,
yeah,
from the transition to the beginning. It's going to be really cool.
yeah, just from Bail Organa's perspective of the Jedi Temple and him like, oh, all right, I'm leaving. See ya.
Yeah, man, it was chaos. It
That's
was nuts.
yeah, that was about the closest we got to seeing it from their eyes.
Yeah,
Um, Obi-Wan series, obvious reasons. Excited to
sure.
see Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen.
And
Gonna be pretty
I don't
solid.
I don't know if we mentioned it. That's actually a mini series, right? It's just going to be a one season.
One season, yeah.
Okay, that's good. I don't think that's one that would need a million seasons. That would be overkill.
And then the third one for me, my mind got changed. It's gonna be Andor. Andor, I think is. I'm really curious to see how they're gonna do this a mystery spy thriller.
Yeah,
And so I don't know. I'm excited for all the projects, but I think those are the three that stand out to me at this point.
sure. All right, man.
All right, guys. So now, probably what you guys are really here for. But I'm sure you guys enjoyed our discussion of all the projects because a lot of cool things coming out, a lot of speculation.
Well, it was just
Uh,
like unexpected too. All
yeah,
those projects, it was
it
kind
was
of
so
overwhelming.
unexpected.
I think that was the main thing, was just trying to categorize what kind of show is this, what's this going to be related to, because they just dropped these names, and yeah, we had to do research.
Yeah, we had to figure out what each one is gonna consist of. Um, so now let's discuss the last Mandalorian episode. Um,
Second to last.
yeah, second last episode.
I'm
Next week,
joking. I know you meant the last, most recent, as in last. I was just making a joke.
oh yeah. The most recent episode of Mandalorian. Um, what'd you
The
think about it?
latest. I had a blast on this episode. I know it was totally, uh, it was sort of a detour. It followed the. I mean, the idea was basically just to find out where Moff Gideon's ship was located, but it was a blast. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that they were gonna have a prison break in the very beginning, or they were gonna get Mayfield out, and they were gonna go right away and start the whole rescue mission, and then it was gonna kind of. I thought it was gonna be sort of like season one, where episode 7 they started the whole take back of the city in Navarro, and then the
Oh
second
yeah,
half we got in the episode 8. I thought that's how it was going to be, a part 1 and a part 2 kind of thing, but it was literally like a
yeah,
whole
that's what
nother
I thought too.
filler. I did not think episode 8 was going to be all the confrontation of Gideon and the crew. So and I also expected, for some reason, I thought they were going to go back and get Cobb Vanth too after they got the prison break. I thought they
They
were going to
might do
knock out
that in
all
the
these.
next one.
Man, there's just so much to cram in one episode now, though, unless the episode's really long. So I feel like
Yeah,
Cobb Vanth
and
might maybe show up in the Rangers. I don't know, or season 3. I don't know. I know he's going to show up again. He's definitely a fan favorite.
yeah,
But anyway, loved it, dude. I had a blast. I thought it was just a fun episode. The entire episode, I was just having fun. It wasn't like
yeah.
the most amazing story driven episode, but it was just a lot of freaking fun. Kind of like episode 4, the one after um the Bo-Katan episode. Um, it was just a lot of fun. The one was directed by Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little sidetracking, but it ended up adding to the story. It was a lot of fun. That's kind of how I felt like in this episode. It was just fun. It was adrenaline, and
I
I
actually
watched with
have
my
a.
son. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I actually have a different opinion than you. I actually thought it was very story driven.
Okay. Well, I mean, I I like how Mayfield was more of a character. How we saw that he was once in the Empire, and he
And I
had some
think that's
beef
where
with them. He has some
the story
history.
came from is more story driven for Mayfield, and so they're building him up for something else.
Which was unexpected, and I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think they're building it for something else. But I think that's why I've talked to a couple people. Most people I talked to have really liked this episode, but I talked to one that wasn't huge on it. And I think it's because they're focused on the main goal, which was to get Grogu back from Gideon. And this just kind of really went on a side, a whole other story. It started a whole other story, and I think that's what some
yeah,
people didn't
and
like about it. But
I keep coming back to this because I feel like
yeah,
today's society is so used to having a fast paced, get to the point type story with a bunch of explosions and special effects thrown in between. I don't
yeah.
think people are used to this type of storytelling because it's been a while since I've seen something that's actually developed. Like,
They're developing
m-
a lot of crap, man.
yeah, like they've got a lot going on, and if you were to watch something else done by someone else, if they're trying to appeal to the people with the oh, all right, let's get from point A to point B in two
Yeah,
seconds, they would have just all right, Mayfield, you're out. All right, you're gonna hack into this. All right, now we're gonna go save Grogu. This was a little bit more drawn out for the sole
yeah,
purpose of developing stories for maybe future seasons or different episodes or different different series.
yeah. No, absolutely. And it was just like I said, it was just a lot of fun. It was just a lot of
Uh,
fun. I love seeing Cara Dune and Fennec together as the snipers. I loved the comedy in there. How Mayfield was trying to talk to Din Djarin, to Mando, and he was just being quiet, and he just kept talking anyway. It was great, man. It was fun, and seeing Mando dress up as one of those troopers. I don't know the proper stormtrooper name for that one, but the
I think
trooper in that
they're
rig,
tank trooper.
the tank trooper. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I think
was
that's
that
similar
was
to like the tank troopers.
where he looked like really awkward in it. But it's funny, his voice was like the same voice. So I don't know if he has the same voice box or what, but
Yeah, I was
it
watching it
just
with my buddy, and we both commented on the same thing. He's like, did you take the same voice
he
controller
took it.
out,
Yeah, he took it out of the helmet.
or or what? Because it didn't change one bit from helmet to helmet.
Yeah,
Uh, so I thought that was pretty funny.
yeah,
Um,
that was really funny.
but we'll get more. Oh, there's that was another. I think that was another thing that was a big. What they spent most of the time is developing Mando himself, and I think
Yeah,
that was like one of the biggest parts of it. Is because this whole season he runs into Cobb Vanth. The moment he sees him, takes his helmet off. He's like, "All right, you're not Mandalorian." comes
Yeah.
into contact with Bo-Katan and her two comrades. They take their helmets off, and he's like, "Nope, you guys aren't real
You're not
Mandalorians."
Mandalorian.
And then you got this whole conversation between him and Mayfield. Mayfield's okay. All right. Well, what is it? You take your helmet off. You're not allowed to take your helmet off, or you're just not allowed to show your face. He's like, those are two different things. And so
Yeah.
him jumping into the tank trooper, and we'll get a little bit more into the discussion at Mando and what he did in this episode, which I think is a huge deal. Um, yeah, we'll discuss that a little bit more because there's a lot I want to talk on that.
Hmm.
Well, even
No,
coming in contact
I
with
like
Boba
when
Fett, because Boba Fett just stands around the cockpit with his helmet off. And,
right. Yeah.
and
He's
so
being
there's a lot of
exposed to all
change.
these helmet off Mandalorians.
Yeah, so he's getting a lot of uh exposure to different Mandalorians and going, okay, is this the way? Instead of saying this is the way, now he's questioning it.
Yeah, he's starting to get curious. I love how Mayfield was kind of making fun of him, like saying like, "Oh man, it's so much better when you take the helmet off. I don't know how you have this thing on all the time, you know."
And I mean you Mandalorians.
Yeah. No, it was,
Not even
yeah.
talking about like the not being able to see because of the stormtrooper. He's like, no, he's sitting there mocking him completely.
Yeah.
Um, so what did you think of when you saw Boba Fett show up on screen the first time?
Yeah, he's all slick and clean.
I
I
was
thought it was
not expecting that.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
they kept the dent
it
in the
looked
helmet, so that was
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, they kept the dent. Yeah, they have the signature dent. Yeah, it was really good. He looked slick. He looked awesome, man. It was good. I love every shot of the slave one in this episode.
Oh, dude, yeah. I think
It
the one you
looks so
mentioned was
good.
the one over the jungle.
Yeah, like I love how Marak it's got that nice it's the jungle green planet, but any shot with the slave one, especially that shot when when it's fighting the TIE fighters that are going after him. They did all that fanfare where he drops the seismic charge. And it's funny because I thought when I was a kid and I saw the seismic charges in space, I thought it was something to do with no sound in space. I didn't know that that was the actual effect that it makes no matter where it's at. But then you stop and think, okay, well, all ships in space and Star Wars have sounds and explosions make
Yeah,
sound, blasters make sound, everything makes a sound in space. So that they're
yeah,
probably
it didn't
maybe they
follow
thought that
science.
idea, yeah. So maybe they thought that was kind of cool just to have one effect like that. I could have swore somewhere back in the day I saw something like they had an idea or the thought of an idea to do something like that in one of the in the films, and they did that in Attack of the Clones. I could be wrong, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. I feel like in this episode they're like, okay, well, this is just the sound it makes that confirms that's the sound. It was really exciting just to see that he drops it, and right when you
Yeah,
pulls the camera pulls back to that shot of the back opening up and you see it popping out, and then he drops it. You know exactly what it was, and it was just really cool. And then bam, it was good. It was exciting.
yeah, really dangerous to use in the atmosphere, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Looks like major nuclear power right there.
Yeah,
But I don't even know where to start though, man. There's just a lot of good scenes. I love the scene on the tank when they're fighting the pirates on the skiffs. It was really
yeah.
good.
So we'll just go scene by scene then. Like we'll just
Yeah.
say our favorite parts of it then.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Um,
I like it.
because like you said, there are like so many cool spots and so many different parts of this episode that were just crazy. Um,
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes in the episode was right after all the action when they're fighting the pirates and the ties come in as reinforcements and take out the rest of the pirates. And then they arrive at the facility, and then all the stormtroopers are all cheering, and they're all like, yeah, like just kind of joining in the excitement. It's just kind of, and everybody's like, and they're like saluting and for the Empire, and it's kind of interesting to see it's interesting to see
you
the
get to
other
see their
side.
perspective.
Yeah, you saw their perspective, and it almost made me feel when I'm watching it like, yeah, the Empire. Wait a minute, it
Yeah,
was
like
interesting.
yeah, because I was like I mentioned, I was watching with my buddy, and like as we got to that scene, they got
Uh,
out of the tank, and you just see them all dirty, all beat up, and we're just like, okay, this is a different side. We weren't expecting them to be so like happy and so cheerful. It kind of
yeah,
humanized the stormtroopers,
sure.
and it because you remember when the empire was full, it's like they had to stand at attention. They're
Yeah,
completely disciplined. I think they're a little less disciplined now, and
yeah,
they're a little bit more relaxed. And you can kind of see that with Mayfield. Like Mayfield even started questioning things
oh
because he
yeah,
mentioned Operation Cinder, and he's like, okay, well, empire is done, we see all these people are happy that the empire is uh, done, but then we lose 5 to 10,000 troopers.
Sure.
Who was it good for?
Yeah.
It's like,
Was it good for
was
them? You know.
was 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 it good for them? No. Was it good for their families? No.
See
And
that
you had,
it's that kind of stuff that made this episode so good. Mayfield killed it in this episode, or
oh yeah,
Bill Burr. Oh my gosh,
Mayfield
dude.
and Mando together,
Yeah.
like the different side of Mando mixed with Mayfield, um, was
I mean,
I think
I
a
felt
really good part of the episode.
I felt like the awkwardness when they walk into like the break room, their little cafeteria. He has to go up to the terminal to find the ship. Like you feel that tenseness. Like oh gosh, this guy's looking at us. This guy's looking at him. They can't go in, and then the guy's freaking out because he
Not
knows
only
him.
is that guy looking at him, he recognizes him as one of his commanding officers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's
So
like,
he's
okay,
freaking out, and
he's like, I
yeah,
can't go in. This guy's gonna recognize me. I served under him when I was a field
yeah,
operative. He's like,
yeah.
the mission's over.
And then
Um,
and then when they're at the table, it was super tense when they're kind of having a friendly conversation, and then like you said, he starts talking about what was it that what do we lose there? 5, 10,000, and he's just like, oh yeah, it was they died great for the empire. He's like, yeah, was it great for the families? Was it great for
yeah,
them? Huh?
Imperial
Like, and then he just
heroes. It's
yeah,
like we
Imperial, yeah, he
survived
just
them all.
and
Ha
he
ha
just
ha
kept
ha.
building up the tensity until he finally just shot him, and then
Because
all
this
the
guy was
rest
just being
started.
so freaking arrogant. I would have done the same
Yeah,
thing. It's
sure,
like, okay.
yeah,
It's like, I'm trying to tell you, man. It's like, what we're doing is wrong. And I
yeah,
think that's the cool thing about it, because like when they took Mayfield out of the prison, they were kind of worried about him. They're like, okay, we're bringing him to the Imperials. He's gonna snitch on us, so he can't go by himself.
yeah,
And so that was the thing with Mando. It's like he's like, oh yeah, I'm not good enough to explain a Mandalorian walking in with me. And so
yeah,
Mando's like, nope, we're gonna take the tank trooper uniforms, and that's how we're gonna go in. And
yeah.
so because they weren't gonna trust Mayfield going in alone, because they thought he was just gonna turn back to the Imperials. And this whole episode kind of give us a point
Show that
of,
he
because
doesn't care
even when
about
they
him.
were writing the Rhydonium cargo, um, he was talking to Mando. He's like, okay, he's like, we got the Empire, they rule. What's the difference between the rebellion ruling? He's like, it's just everybody's being ruled, everybody's
Yeah,
being told what to do. And he's like, even on Mandalore, he's like, your people, did they choose to fight and stuff like that. And so
yeah,
it's kind of really, you really get into the mind of Mayfield and see that he's hating on the Empire, and you get to see why he actually left the Empire, because he could have stayed with the remnants, and I feel like he did stay with the remnants for a while because he had a little bit of information on them, because
well,
he knew
he
about
mentioned that one
Morak.
scene. He mentioned that scene like, where are you gonna go, Alderaan? Mandalore, and then he's like, they both basically don't exist because of the Empire.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, it was really good how you get these different perspectives on everything. It's crazy.
And then you get the whole pirate attack, which I thought was a really cool spot, because I thought they're just gonna, okay, we're gonna take over this little cargo tank, we're gonna take it to the Imperial base, and we're gonna do our mission. I wasn't expecting this big battle. You see all these explosions, and all of a sudden you see these pirate ships just come on and start jumping on. Amanda just comes out, and I thought it was
They're just
cool
trying to
that
blow
they,
the sucker up.
yeah, because they're trying to protect their planet. It's like Imperial rule. It's like
Yeah,
they don't want to be controlled.
yeah,
And so Mando goes out there and fights them. I liked how they shattered his armor, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not used to this,"
yeah,
because I think it was his whole left arm, like all the armor on that got destroyed.
yeah.
And
I love. Oh man, yeah.
and to go with
Oh,
a little bit more story development, which is going to play a key part in the next episode, is with that big Beskar spear, is just showing that Mando can fight with the staff, because he picked up one of the pirate staffs and sat there
and started
and
fighting with them. Yeah,
yeah, and so a lot of people that call this filler or whatever, this was just developing a lot of things that fans, based off of the movies, especially with Ray. How did Ray learn how to use a lightsaber? We didn't see her on screen do it, and stuff like that. And so they're kind of, I feel like they're kind of building up things so fans can say, okay, how'd Mando learn how to fight with that Beskar spear so well? Well,
yeah.
this episode we see that he actually can fight without a gun.
What about all those mask off scenes in this episode? Well, he basically had his mask off through a large portion of the episode.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to discuss, because it is interesting, because that's why I really like the bond between Mando and Mayfield is because Mayfield really got into his head. He's like, okay. He's like, what's the price? He's like, we know that you're willing to do anything for this for the child. So he's like,
Yeah,
everybody has a price to change their morals and their values.
yeah. Everybody has their line that they cross.
Which goes to the whole thing is like when they got to the Imperial base, he's walking in and it's like, oh, all right, mission's over. And Mayfield Amanda's like, nope, give me the data switch and I'll go in there and do it myself.
Yeah,
And so he goes in there and it started scanning his helmet and I was like, oh, I'm like, he's gonna get caught. And then you could just feel him thinking. And then you just see him take the helmet off. And I was like, what? I'm like, I
he
was not
recognizes
expecting.
his face.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Let alone uh, his face was recognized in the system. Like because it scanned him as a trooper or something.
Yeah, it's like, does he have some history there or something?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest questions I had there too. Is like because Moff Gideon knew who he was,
Yeah,
and um, so it goes on to that whole thing like with Mayfield talking to him. It's like, okay, everybody has that line there across. Are you not wearing your helmet? Are you not allowed to show your face? Or you're just not allowed to take out the helmet? Like started questioning him, and I think Mando's starting to have the same questions himself,
yeah.
especially hanging around all these Mandalorians this season.
Wait, to him, it was worth the sacrifice for the kid, because
Yeah,
that was like we'll see in the we'll talk about the last scene, but he's worth more to him than you will ever know.
yeah, exactly. He took his helmet off for the child, so I
Yeah,
don't even think Grogu's seen his face yet.
no, I don't think so.
What did you think of Valen Hess? I actually really like that character.
Yeah, he was super like he was like grungy and totally had that crooked evil type of aura about him.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely looked like the type that would not care to kill 10,000 of his own freaking men. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Just to make himself look good, or just to get victory for that matter.
See,
Um,
I really liked his interaction between the Mando and Mayfield. He's like comes out there.
yeah, he was.
He's like, you gotta show more respect when you're talking when your superior officer talks to you. And then he's like, all right, what's your TK number? And then Mayfield comes in. He's like, oh, he's a little hard of hearing because of the explosions,
Those
blah blah.
explosions.
And, and then he just starts
Starts
yelling
yelling
at
at
him.
him.
And I just thought that was comedy, which
Yeah, that was super good.
which I go back to, which I've mentioned in previous episodes. This is the type of humor that Star Wars always has. It's just situational stuff and stuff that you laugh at. It doesn't. None of the humor in this season so far has felt forced to me.
No,
It
no, it was
it's
really
just
good.
all came very natural, just like the whole Han Solo thing. It's like, yeah, we're okay. How are you?
Yeah, yeah,
It's about that same type of humor that we got from the original trilogy, and I love it.
yeah. That was really good. It's classic.
And then
Man,
he's like, oh yeah, you can just call him Brown Eyes, and I just like the way that Valen Hess
brown
called him.
eyes.
He's like, all right, Brown Eyes. Let's.
Yeah,
And then they're trying to get out of there, and he's just like, oh, let's get a drink real quick, and then that goes to that whole little awkward scene that you're talking about with them just chilling there.
yeah, that was good. That was good. Now the whole thing with Hess was really it was tense, but like you said, there was some humor in there, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the I love how when they were escaping out, how you had Fennec and Cara Dune just sniping out the
Oh, I loved it.
stormtroopers as they had the whole fight, and then of course I love when they jump onto the slave one. It was just good action. Like I said,
Speak,
not yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
speaking of things that aren't being forced, is like the female rules, like female badass characters. Like you have Cara Dune and Fennec, who are just cool and strong female characters without being in your face about it. You
Sure,
just know they are just because you see them
they're
on screen
just
doing
strong.
things. You just
They're
see
not
them doing
perfect. They're
stuff.
not perfect. They're not perfect.
And that was one
They
of my
still they
biggest
still make
complaints with
mistakes.
like the sequel trilogies because they're pushing that whole agenda. And it's like,
Yeah, no,
guys,
Ray was just ridiculously good at everything. It was kind of from the first movie. I was just like, I don't know if I like this girl.
yeah. And
I
that's
like
why I
I
like
liked her as a character, but I didn't like how great she was at everything. I was like, come
mhm.
on, man, let her struggle a little bit. Let her learn something. Let her learn a lesson. That's
Yeah,
how
and
character gets
that was my
stronger,
biggest
right?
complaint with Ray is just she didn't have any character struggle. Everything
Yeah,
just came easy for her, and I think that's why I really like Fennec and Cara Dune so much is because they're flawed, but
yeah.
they're also really really cool without
What, which
without
is what
trying.
also makes Ahsoka so freaking amazing. She's extremely
True.
flawed,
Oh,
but
extremely.
she learns from all these different things
But
all these different mistakes she makes.
character
Yeah,
development, that the
yeah,
huge thing. It's like
yeah. Ahsoka's amazing.
because like even in Rogue One, like most of the characters I didn't like half of the characters, pretty much all the characters that the main characters were male, and I didn't care for any of them because they weren't developed right.
Yeah.
Like my favorite one was probably the droid.
No, he was good. He was good.
But I did also really like Chirrut. Chirrut was pretty cool.
Sure, anyway, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's the whole
So
thing is like Mandalorian is doing well with developing all their characters and they're not focusing on the gender. They're just cool because they're cool.
what did you think about that last shot? I love I was
Which
kind
last
of
shot?
worried the last shot with or not the last shot, the last scene
Oh, the last
with
scene
Moff
between Moff
Gideon
Gideon
with
and
the holo.
Mando.
Yeah, yeah, that was really
Dude.
cool. You have
Dude.
something that I want. It's worth more to me than you will ever know. You
And
know
it's the exact
that
same
was
thing that Gideon said to him.
at the end of season one. I love how Gideon looked both kind of frightened and annoyed. It
Yeah.
actually looked like he got him. He's just like, "How the hell did you find me?"
Yeah.
But
He's like, all
it
right.
was it's done, buddy. It just nice because it just built up the tension for the next episode. At least since we didn't really get much about them going after Grogu. Because this is most about, like you said, developing Mayfield and more of Mando's
Mando.
character.
Yeah.
Um, and of course finding out the location of his Star Destroyer, which, like you said, the development is really cool because it wouldn't be that easy just to find out where the Star Destroyer is. A lot of times
Yeah.
in these movies or shows, usually they're just like, oh, they just ask some random person, and this person could refer them to this convenient person over here, and they're like, oh yeah, they're going this way. Okay, cool, let's go right now. You know,
Take
it's
Take
a little
Rogue
more
One
realistic.
for example. Them getting the Death Star plans, it seemed way too easy for all the events to go. They got
Yeah.
into the base super easy. They knew where it was super easy. As
Well,
soon as they got in,
I
they
think that's also the
found the plan
advantage
super
of.
easy.
Well, I think that's also the advantage of a TV show. You have more time to develop a story. In a
Hmm.
movie, you're limited. I think that's just I think that's why TV is becoming more focused on these days. Epic television, um, because you can develop stories so much better and characters. You have
Hmm.
so much more time to do it. Um, yeah. So
No,
anyway,
I completely agree on that. That's one of the reasons why I like the DC TV shows more than I like the movies
yeah,
because they're
you
able
got
to
time
take
to
more
develop these
time.
characters.
Exactly, yeah. And that's actually why
Yeah.
Flash has become probably one of my favorite characters is because of the TV shows. And so
Yeah.
I think Disney's smart for making all these different series on Disney Plus.
I
One
What was your? Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say,
uh,
what was your favorite? What was your favorite scene in this episode?
uh favorite scene in this. Um, it's not gonna do with any of the action part. I think a lot of my favorite parts of this episode was just the character development. I really like the scene from the time that they got into the remnant base all the way until the time that Mayfield just points the gun, shoots them, and it's like, all right, time to go. Boom, boom. And then they both
Yeah.
just kind of like duel, go out the window, and then
But one thing I didn't mention is how awkward Din Djarin looked with the mask off. He's
oh
just
yeah.
like he's just so out of his element. It was funny.
Oh, and that's another thing. Speaking of that, him and Mayfield. Mayfield's like, I never saw you without a helmet, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That was.
Mayfield respected him. He's like, okay, you
Yeah.
did this because
Yeah.
you
I
had
never
to,
saw that.
but I never saw your face. Here's your
And
helmet.
which also kind of reminds me of at the end. Oh yeah, it's too bad that that Mayfield died in this facility explosion. Which and then he's like, what? You let me go? Because I'll go right now.
Oh yeah, that
That,
was
that was great.
yeah, exactly. Like that's what I really like about Mayfield is just that it's very matter of fact.
Yeah,
Um,
no, he's great. I was gonna say I forgot to mention too when they were flying out, how he sniped out he blew up the facility, um, and the Rhydonium mining
yeah,
facility. And I love how Fennec's like looking at Cara Dune's like, man, he's a good shot, you know.
Yeah.
This guy's good.
Um. Yeah. Speaking of that, it's like I was reminded that this episode actually kind of had a Solo feel to it.
Mhm.
Because, especially with like they're have the ship and they're like, or not the ship, the tank. They're driving. They're like, oh, we got to go a certain speed, otherwise it's going to overheat and blow up. And it's kind of the same with them trying to get the what was the name of the chemical that they're using in Solo?
I don't remember, man. I've only seen Solo once, so it's. I'm not gonna remember vibranium or I'm not sure the exact one it was. But what I know that the rhydonium, not only is it explosive, but it
Coaxium.
takes what is it?
Coaxium.
Coaxium. Okay.
Yeah. So the Rhydonium reminded me of the Coaxium, just like the whole race of them trying to.
Oh yeah, on Corellia.
Yeah, and so this gave like the whole uh Solo feel to me, and for this entire episode, or
Well, I
at
know
least the last bit of it.
one thing I didn't realize until I looked it up later after we saw the episode. I didn't realize it's actually speed or motion that sets off rhydonium. It's explosive, but speed will basically set it off.
Yeah,
Friction.
and that's why he was driving at a certain speed. It's like, oh, speed up. He's like, are you kidding? Are you crazy? He's like, you
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah. I liked all the intercoms too, like in the radio when they'd hear the guys say like, "Oh, we're under attack," like that, and you just hear them like get like destroyed, and then the next one, you're like, "What the hell is going on?" You know?
Yeah, seriously.
It was just. Oh, another thing to mention is it was cool to see inside the Slave One in the beginning of the
Oh
episode.
yeah,
We,
yeah,
we
because you
see the
mentioned that like a
cockpit.
previous discussion.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we see the cockpit
It's really
in
roomy.
Attack the
That's a
Clones, and yeah, exactly. And I love that. I love how you get to kind of really feel the feeling of how it's kind of reverses around the ship. It's not
yeah.
like a normal. It's kind of like the a little bit it reminds me of that scene in Rebels when Harrison Dula flies the B wing on
Oh
Shantipole.
yeah,
They go to Shantipole. It's like that planet where they go to fight. I forgot the right name they call it, but it's a something class bomber. It was a B wing, and it
yeah.
just kind of flips over and it has this reverse turn. And when she lands, and then when she takes off, it kind of reverses back to a vertical form. It kind of has that similar feel on the Slave One, which is I thought was really cool to see
Hmm.
how they kind of spin around, and it was really awesome.
Oh, one other thing that I noticed in this episode that everybody goes, okay, in movies, whenever they have like guns, like sit there and shoot it, and it's like infinite ammo. I like how Amanda was like shooting, and he started clicking, and it's like, oh, it's
Yeah,
out of juice, and then that's when he had to pick up the staff and kind of fight.
he
So I thought
threw
that was really
he
cool.
threw the gun, and then he threw the gun at him.
Yeah, so I thought that
No,
was pretty
that
funny.
was really cool. Yeah, that was awesome. Oh,
And
oh
so
man.
it kind of corrects like the whole infinite ammo on movies. He's like, oh no, this is out of ammo. All right, improvise, and it just shows
I
how
was
smart
half
Mando is.
I was half expecting Boba Fett when they dropped off the seismic charge. Say, well, we won't be seeing them again. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
But
dude,
anyway,
overall, really good episode. I can't wait for next week's episode.
do
Um,
you think I want to see it'd be cool next week's episode if you see what if they get Moff Gideon to flee and he flees in a TIE fighter and then Boba Fett shoots the missile, the following missile, because the Slave One actually has those
yeah,
following missiles that we
the
saw in
tracking
Attack
the
the
tracking
Clones.
missiles. Yeah,
The Jack missiles, yeah. I hope we get to see those in one of the upcoming episodes. Just since we
yeah.
have the Slave One, they already
I
showed a
don't think
seismic
it'll be
charge and
against
stuff.
Moff Gideon because
I
I'm
know, I know. I
pretty
was just
sure
being kind
Moff
of
Gideon
funny.
survives. I'm pretty sure because, like I mentioned, like he was mentioned about being in episodes or seasons 3 and 4. So I don't
Yeah,
think we'll see the end of Moff Gideon this time, but maybe we'll see
I
those rockets go against like
that's
another trooper or something.
that's one reason I don't like looking at news all like sometimes with TV shows because then
Hmm.
you see like, oh, this actor's been signed on to season 3 and 4 or whatever. You're like, oh, great, so now I know he lives.
Yeah,
So I'm not
exactly.
expecting him to die now in the next episode, which I feel like he should die. But then again, he's the main villain of this series because I was thinking that they were going to kill him off and then bring in Grand Admiral Thrawn, but I feel like that's who they're saving for the Ahsoka series.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be for Ahsoka.
So, do you have any predictions for this last episode of season 2?
This last episode, I want to say Bo-Katan and Mando. I don't think he's gonna contact Bo-Katan. I think she's just gonna randomly show up because
That's what
maybe
I feel like. Yeah.
I feel like they show up at the same time because she found out where he's at. 'Cause she's going for the dark saber. He's going for Grogu, and so it's gonna be
So
like
they're gonna
another like
join.
random team up like they did in the third episode. Um, a lot of people are saying Cobb Vanth might come through only because I feel that's what the first episode was kind of developing him as a warrior character, and I think that whole episode was introducing him for another role in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool to hopefully see him again, and then maybe he's part of the Rangers of the New Republic as well,
Oh yeah. There you go.
because he's called the Marshal and he's down there. So now that they got the tie-in
Cara
with the
Dune's the
Tusk,
Marshal of the New Republic.
yeah, and so they don't really need him on
That makes
Tatooine
sense.
anymore because they were able to strike that deal with the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely for sure we're gonna see Bo-Katan, and maybe I don't know if her two troopers will be with her. I hope they are, and just see them just jump into this Imperial Star Destroyer and hunt down Moff Gideon, and then we're gonna.
That's
I'm
gonna be
really
so much fun.
I'm really expecting a fight between Mandalorian and Moff Gideon, Beskar Spear versus Dark Saber.
I think all those things you said are going to happen. And I feel like at the very end of this episode, since we're so focused on this last episode and now what's going to happen on
Oh
this
yeah, the
new
Jedi.
episode, I think the Jedi, I think whoever Grogu was communicating with will show up at the very end just to kind of tease us and set up season 3. And
Yeah, I think
then,
it's gonna. I think he's gonna have more of a Boba Fett tease. Like we're not gonna see him contact
yeah,
Mandalorian.
yeah,
I think he's just gonna. It's just gonna be like a shot to him, maybe walking into Tython, and
yeah.
or something, or maybe see him meditating and then his eyes open because he feels the presence or something.
That would be
Something
actually
that's gonna
cool to
tie.
see whoever this person is. We're gonna see Mary Jade somewhere out on the forest moon of Endor, and she's gonna be doing her thing, and you're gonna see her talking to Luke Skywalker, and they're gonna be actually Yavin 4. They're gonna be camping out in Yavin 4, stranded with their X-wings crashed on Yavin 4,
Taking out
and
Exar Kun.
yeah, and then she's gonna say, "Luke, I gotta go. I feel something. I can't explain it." And then he'll say,
Dude, I'd be stoked for that. That'd be freaking cool. Not gonna lie.
I'm just that I don't know if you remember that scene from Heir to the Jedi in
Yeah,
the Timothy Zahn trilogy.
because they can totally bring in that
Come
whole thing
on,
with Kylo
they
could.
gotta make Mary Jade canon, dude. They got
They
all
do,
these other cool
and
characters.
they
Come
can
on,
keep it canon with Kylo killing Mara Jade because Jason Solo kills Mara Jade,
there you go, there you
and so
go.
they can, and so maybe when Kylo wipes out the temple, maybe she's one of the ones that he kills. You never
Oh
know,
gosh, man, that's what I'm saying,
and
man. They got
and that
Mary
maybe that
Jade.
could be why
She's in.
Luke is so distraught and exiles himself is because not only did he lose his pupils, he failed his nephew and lost his wife at the same time.
Oh
I think that
man,
would be great character development for Luke. Doubt it will
drama
happen,
grows.
but I think that would be really cool.
I I, I am 90% sure it's not going to be her,
No, I
and
know
I'm also
it's fun to
90%
speculate.
sure,
It's fun to
and it's
dream.
not going to be Mace Windu. Sam Jackson, I don't think he'll show up in Mandalorian. And
I
that would be the biggest surprise of a lifetime, just because you haven't even heard
I hope he
rumors of
doesn't
it.
come back.
He's not gonna.
I don't
I
like
don't think
Mace
he'll come
Windu.
back.
No, I know
I
he
just
won't, but
I think some
they're
people
teasing
just need
like
to stay
different
dead.
projects.
I think some people just need to stay dead, honestly.
Yeah, this isn't the Marvel universe.
And
Can't keep bringing
why
back
didn't yeah,
villains
I
and
know.
heroes. Just let them
Some
die.
people do have good points when you're like, oh, Mace Windu is dead, the guy's dead, and then I heard people say, well, they bring back Darth Maul, he got cut in half. They can bring back the guy that fell off, however many stories he fell. I'm
And
like,
honestly,
okay.
I can't argue with that logic at all. I mean, it's very possible that he's still alive. I
I'm
just don't
sure.
want him to.
I'm sure he's. I'm sure he's alive. I just think because he's a fan favorite, and we didn't. The way he died, I feel like they set up to a possibility that he could be out there somewhere,
Yeah,
but I don't think he's going to show up. I don't think it's going to be him. If he ever shows up, maybe sometime down the line, one of these other projects, he'll show
yeah,
up and get everybody excited. I feel like it would be more in a movie,
yeah.
and not a TV show, because it's Sam Jackson, man. I mean, he's a huge A-list star. I don't think he'll show up in the TV show, honestly.
I think he would just because he wants to play Mace Windu again, and I'm sure he'd do it no matter what the role was.
Well, I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to see
Yeah.
him.
Uh, I'm 50-50. I know I'm kind of hating on him, but I actually am kind of 50-50. It would be cool to see him, but at the same time, I don't want to see him. So
Yeah,
I'm on the fence about it. Um, fun speculation. So just a few more days, and we're gonna have the last episode, um, and you guys will be able to hear our discussion on it.
exciting.
So this is gonna wrap it up for tonight's discussion. Remember, check the description down below. We've got our Discord. Please join. We're getting a really decent community there. We want to keep growing, so share with your friends. Um, tell everybody about it because we'd love to talk with you guys there. Um, definitely follow us on our Instagram if you're not following us already. Links are down below. And check out our merch. We've got a bunch of cool shirts I think you guys will like. We're continuing to work on more designs. I think at the beginning of the new year, we're going to kind of retire some of the designs. So be sure to get some of your favorite designs before they disappear. Um, and as always, like and subscribe to our channel. Share it with your friends, and so that way we can keep producing more discussions for you guys. We got a bunch of stuff planned this year, so the content's not going to end after Mandalorian. We're going to keep going. Um, so thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you guys next week. This is Echo 2 out.
This is Echo 5 out. May the force be with you.
Always.